We are back here in the Second Story studio, and today I've got Jonna Smoot with me, and we're real excited to talk about community engagement, what it looks like, how did she actually land here in Midland, and maybe a little bit about some UTPB stuff. But I'm going to let her speak, so Jonna, take it away. How did you get here? Where did you come from?
Well, good morning, Art. Thank
morning.
you. I'm so excited to finally be sitting in this room in the beautiful original Second Story co-working in downtown Midland. It's great. It's great connections and it's wonderful. How did I end up here in Midland? That's a long story, but when I landed here, this was interesting. How I got involved with so much of the community was really just kind of a special, unique story. And it all goes back to melons. So I was standing in line one morning in Odessa. That was where I first lived when I moved here, and I am a big fan of Odessa. And I'd like to give a shout out to the Odessa Chamber because I love them.
I'm Odessa born and raised.
And they know that. There's no secret there about my feelings about the Odessa Chamber. But standing in line at Sam's Club, and there was this couple in front of me. And it's this man and woman, and this woman just keeps picking up this melon, putting down the melon, picking up the melon, putting down the melon. And I was just laughing because I had a lot of jokes I wanted to share, but I didn't know these people. And so I said, hey, how about those melons? And that started a long friendship, and it started me on my path with UTPB. And so the woman turned and looked at me and she goes, well, isn't that a funny question? And it was Mary Ann Brescia, and she's married to Bob Brescia, who used to be the leader of John Ben Shepherd Leadership Institute.
Oh, I love that institute.
At UTPB. And so she said, who are you? What do you do? What do you volunteer with? What's your deal? And I wasn't volunteering with too much yet here. And she said, we want you involved. We want you involved in JBS on the advisory board. And I was like, okay, lady with the melon at the grocery store. And so we later met, we talked. There was an actual fit for me to go on to the advisory board of JBS at the time. Again, it's John Ben Shepherd, and if you don't know much about him back from the 1950s, he is a statesman that is worth looking up. And if you've ever driven through Odessa and you've seen those beautiful jackrabbits, John Ben Shepherd. So with that said, I went on. I was with the advisory board for about 6 years, and then I was on the College of Business Advisory, but that kind of opened doors and spurred me to do more. Also, Mary Ann's approach, when I made my funny flip remark to her about the melons, who are you, what do you do, where are you plugged in, made me think, that's the best question ever. Where are you plugged in? What are you doing for the community? Like, you're standing there taking up space. Go do something. Yeah. Which is what I read into her comment in the nicest of ways. So really that the melon incident really spurred me on to do a lot for the community.
I'm here for that. And that makes me feel good about our summer Wednesday snacks here as Watermelon Wednesdays. So maybe we'll have another melon moment. Melon moments. There you go.
There we go.
Melon memories. So I know you are not a local. You landed here Odessa first?
Odessa first.
And where were you coming from that brought you to Odessa?
So.
And then to Midland.
I am cusping on the age of 56. I lived in Southern California for about 35 years of my life, lived in Phoenix for about a decade, lived in Pennsylvania for about 2-ish, almost 3 years, and then here for the rest, which is, as of March 1st of 2026, 13 years.
Oh, lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. And as most stories go, mine is the opposite. You know how people fall into a bad group of things and things aren't great. I fell into a good group of people. They were all quality, and I decided to stay. It probably wasn't for me. It wasn't Midland, Odessa wasn't a fast-paced life. It didn't have as many amenities as I was used to. You couldn't go to every restaurant that you ever wanted to. The shopping maybe wasn't as dynamic as I was used to. Certainly the beach, which only existed here like a million years ago. You know, there was no beach between the two cities currently. So it was a very different vibe for me, but it was, and people always say it's the people, and I don't know. I mean, people are people everywhere you go. I believe truly when you get plugged into people and you are giving back to the community, that's when it's the people, because every day I'm just running across someone who wants to do more, be more, give more. And that's who I choose to associate with. like you, Art.
Thank you, Jonna. And you're probably wondering, why are we inviting Jonna to the podcast? Well, I'm trying to remember how I met you the first time. Do you recall? I don't. I'm sorry.
I met you randomly somewhere, and I knew that I knew you
Oh.
through Ryan McGuire
Yes, we met.
because of your name. I met you like at a bar or something.
Okay, well, the very first time I'm recalling was at the State of Midland address. I still remember what you were wearing. It was black, but scarlet red here, scarlet red earrings, scarlet red lips, and then your blonde hair. And I was like, whoa, that's almost picking up the Devil Wears Prada vibes off that woman.
Jonna Cash.
Yeah.
Jonna Cash with all black.
Yeah, all black today. But I kept seeing you. And then I found you on LinkedIn. We linked up, and I was like, okay, this woman's a real LinkedIn queen.
I link.
And then I started seeing all the initiatives that you were a part of. And at that time, you were working for a bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all of this is so not bank related. What is she doing? Why is she doing it? And she keeps showing up. And then I saw that there was kind of a group that follows you. And I guess I joined that group, and I started seeing the way that Jonna connects with people. And I'm a self-proclaimed connector.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm always looking to better my skills. And so I went to lunch with you. And I got your life story, what you shared. And I found you absolutely fascinating, how much you have invested in the people of Midland. And funny thing, just her coming here today, she's connected with a member out there just probably 10 minutes ago, and was giving him strategy and sharing who she knows and what he could do to further. He just went independent, and it's things like that I think attract people to you. But how do you use that? How do you leverage that? I know you're with a new company. And what are they, and what do they do?
So it's interesting, you said I was in banking. I was in banking for just over 12 years here, and now I have transitioned over to a new role, and it's selling, and it's consultative selling, basically. It's Landmark, Landmark Engineering, and they're 50 years old. They've been in Texas for about 12-ish years, and they're based out of Canada. We have approximately 120 engineers on staff. We are not a small company. We're not the biggest company. But I had met the guys 2.5, maybe 3 years ago at a conference, at one of the Roselander Shale Energy conferences.
Okay.
And I walked up, there was a guy at a booth, and I said, hi, who are you? I don't know you or your company. And his name was Doug Bourgeois. I love his name.
You don't forget that last name.
Doug Bourgeois. And I made him show me his card because I didn't believe him. And then so Doug told me who he was, what he was doing, and I looked at him and I said, okay, well, thank you for the explanation. I still don't know what that means. I have no idea what EPC means. And we stayed in touch. He said, look, I'm trying to break into Midland. And I've been coming from Houston for 3 years, and I've made friends, and I enjoy it, but it's just not easy going. And so I started connecting him to people and bringing him to things. And I'm involved with the Stelter Initiative, and we clean up trash. And we've cleaned up over 300,000 pounds of trash in just over 2.5 years off the mean streets of the Permian Basin. It's now a 501.
Thank you.
We have a cleanup coming on April 11th. You can find information about it at the Stelter Initiative on LinkedIn or Facebook, April 11th. But it was just community members banding together, deciding this is yucky. Let's make it not yucky. So here we are. But I brought Doug to a trash thing. Kept inviting him out for drinks or whatever. And then when I left banking, Doug said, hey, you need to come work for us. And I said, it's been 2.5 years, Doug. I still don't know what you do. So anyways, here I am. I'm learning what all the services that we offer. To sum it up in a nutshell, Landmark Engineering is your trusted engineering partner. We will do all of your engineering designs basically from the ground up. We'll do your maintenance on your energy facilities. And if you have a question about what we do, Jonna Smoot, you can certainly give me a call. I will have an answer.
So that's a lot. And now we know what you do.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and that was how I got my. So to me, that's interesting. Like, that was an interesting part of the story. We didn't rehearse this. So I got my job because I met some guy. I said, "Who are you? What do you do?" I was actually interested in what he did, and I said, "How can I help you?" And so I helped him. And one of the things I helped him do was with JBS. There was Terry Bradshaw was going to be talking at.
I went to that one.
And I had told them about that, and apparently my boss loves Terry Bradshaw, and he said, I would love to do it. And I said, well, let me get you connected to them. You typically you join the inner circle. It's typically a donation of $1,000. It goes to great use. And so the company made the donation to JBS. They got there. He got to meet Terry Bradshaw, and look where I am today. But it's no good deed goes unpunished, and I mean that sarcastically. Like, I helped, I had no agenda, and they turned around and said, "Be a part. We want someone like you to represent us in the community. Be a part of our team."
Right, and similar to my position here at Second Story, we want someone like us, you and I, connector, take our brand values and ripple it across the community, and let people know who we are, how we can help. I think engineers don't like this. We fall under the category of social engineers.
Right.
We strategize, and it's kind of hard to explain this to people who don't think as people. I believe you do. There's just something that we realize the value of connecting him to her so they can get with this group, and it'll benefit the bigger picture. And in between, there's lots of little micro hospitality moments. And I think I want to zero in on that with you. I have been to several impromptu things that you invite. You offer water, food, a chair, literally. I mean, all these things.
Absolutely.
The past few things I've been to at your space, where did you see the value in that? How did you build that?
Well, kind of also, so kind of like you are. Art comes from a very large family. His is a little bit larger than mine, but I have lovely parents, Paul and Helen Nowatka, and there are 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. 2 of the girls are stepsisters, so Danny and Pam are the same age. Patty and Michael are the same age, about 2.5 years apart, and then Tony and Jonna were Irish twins. I had skipped a grade, so we went through school together. So we were exactly the Brady Bunch.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up, and my mom made sure that we had 3 hots and a cot, right? The house was kept pristine. We knew my dad was a policeman. We knew about civic engagement. We knew about doing for each other, and we always had meals. And so to me, meals are always important, and it's kind of a love language. Like, if I am going to have you in my life, and if I have food or water, you will have it first.
That's awesome.
But then if I'm really thirsty, I might take a drink of your water if I don't have one. But I mean, it's just what you do. It's hospitality. You want to make your people feel warm and welcome. And I guess it's selfish, maybe. Like, if I give you a food or a cookie, maybe you're going to stay longer and talk to me.
I mean, it to a percentage, I think it is a little self-serving because it feels good to serve, and it makes
I'm an addict.
Yeah, I'm right there with her. I'm so fortunate to be in a position where I work for a company that encourages me to serve and serve our members, and then also bring people in that are also that have a real spirit of serving. And it's awesome. It's
fun. Sometimes it's not easy. So there was one nonprofit I was on here, and they wanted to increase money. And so I had a simple idea: change your invite. You don't have a presenting sponsor. Offer a presenting sponsor. And this was years ago. It's about 2016. And one lady, and I was 3 years old here, and she knew it, and she made sure she pointed that out to me all the time. She no longer lives here, but she said, as she slammed her hand on the table, that is not how we do things here. And I said, all it is offering a presenting sponsor. Let's get this number instead of that number. Well, we offered that, the nonprofit. They've offered it every year since, and every year since they have had a presenting sponsor.
Wow.
So, I mean, connections are easy though. So, like, one day I was at MRCCAC, Midland Children's Rape Crisis and Advocacy Center.
Yes.
And I was standing there and I look down and I see all these white bags. And so I pick it up and I said to the lady, oh, what are these? And she said, oh, we were going to use these. They're wine bags and they're from Sewell Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And, but we can't use them now for what they were doing. And I said, oh my gosh, Centers for Children would love them for their wine and whiskey pool.
Right.
Can I give them? And she goes, well, I don't know, we need to ask them because they gave them to us. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I get too zealous about these things. So she picked up the phone and called Andrew Marshall, and said, hey, Andrew, I've got this woman here. She wants your wine bags. Can I give them to her? And so he and I connected and we spoke. We'd never spoken before. And he said, not only can you have those wine bags, but Sewell Ford would love to be a sponsor of Centers. And they have been a great sponsor of Centers ever since.
Wow.
So those like little things, because I talked to him about why Centers, why it was important. And then, anyways, it's so easy. Here's the thing. You mentioned water and all these interconnections, and you did this with your hands. And I am very cautious, and I try to be, and very careful with whom I surround myself.
And yeah, I was about to ask, bad connections, but go on.
Plenty of bad connections, absolutely. It just happens. It's a numbers game, right? But water finds its own level. Yeah. And so I feel that I can only be as good as where I'm at. So I always like to be with better people. And so if you're better, I'm better.
Right.
And if you're doing more, I'm doing more. And if I'm not doing more, I'm doing less with my body, with my mind, with my heart, with my soul. And that isn't what I'm here for.
Right, right. I love the way you put that. Let's build a model, a case study. So let's say there's a fresh body out here in Midland, and they are looking to get connected and build their personal brand. For me, everyone's a walking brand. We hear this all the time. A brand's just a promise. It's how you're going to behave.
Right.
And when you go out of character, it's going off brand.
You kill the trust.
Exactly. So what are some key cornerstones you could offer someone who's like, let's use an entrepreneur, or someone who's just gone independent, like we just met today. What are 3 cornerstones you would say, this, and this right now, right here, this is going to propel you where you're going to go, and you're going to go, do you want to go far or do you want to go fast?
So truth is one thing. You have to have truth and purpose in self. So I meet a lot of people and they say, oh my gosh, I want your calendar. And I'm like, my calendar doesn't come easy. And Art's like, he mentioned, I show up at all these things. So I've been fortunate that wherever I've worked has let me be me. And when I worked at West Texas National Bank, and they were a great bank, and it's the energy bank locally, they allowed me. I said, it's the energy bank. I'm going to go to Everything Energy because this is what the Permian is. And they were all for it. So I went to Everything Energy, and I got involved in a water board. And I thought it was funny to be in a water board because then I said, I'm waterboarding. And then it kind of got a little askew, and how it turned out, we kind of moved things aside, and Monica Jacobs and myself created the Permian Basin Water and Energy Conference. And then I ran it for 3 years. We had a board. They were very helpful, but it was a very unique experience to be a banker and be literally creating content, agenda, and all of that. So I would tell people, be intentional, be true, and follow through. So I met this young lady at a water conference, and she said, oh my gosh, you seem to know everybody. And I said, I'm friendly to pretty much anyone I meet, and I don't meet strangers, or I try not to. And she said, well, can you give me some advice? And I said, yeah, go be nice to other people. Just go out and say hi and ask them something about them. People like to talk about themselves. And I said, try and take a picture with them at these conferences. Everybody loves to have their photo taken. And she goes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go take, these are her words, I am going to go take a picture with everybody important here. And I said, well, number one, they're all important. So don't cut anyone out. They're all important. And by the end of the day, who do you think she did not take a picture with?
I'm familiar with the story, yeah.
This girl. And I thought it was very interesting. And then she followed up with me, and I was kind enough several more times on advice, but I thought she really missed an opportunity. If she wanted to if she was coming to me because I was important, wouldn't I have been an important person? So I guess a piece of advice for a case study is know who you're talking to and know your audience. Like if you've come up to me asking me for help and I suggest that you do something and you start taking the advice and leave me out of it, I don't know, that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little telling.
And then, so Johnny Garcia the other day of TXAM Pumps, he stood up and he said, a lot of people come to me and they want my help. And I say to them, this is Johnny, he said, I have a 35,000 square foot warehouse that needs some sweeping. Would you mind doing some sweeping? And he said, everybody says no, but they want my free advice and they want my time. But guess what? I have to go sweep that warehouse.
Yeah.
So instead, if they would go sweep that warehouse, I would then have some time to talk to them. So to those who want help from people who can give it to you, see how maybe you can be assistive to them. Now, if you're going to offer me help, I will 9,000 times out of 10 tell you, oh no thanks, I've got it, I'm fine. It is unlikely I will ever ask for any help, ever. But the offer and having it be genuine is wonderful. And then also, I get a lot of people who will come up to me and say, oh my gosh, can we just take a picture with you? Will you post it? I'll take the picture, I share it with them. They don't post it. They don't tag me. And I always just think, if you're trying to be intentional and you're trying to get with someone, I don't know why that disconnect happens. So I always do that. I will always share, post, connect. I just don't know that I see most doing it on the other end.
Right.
And it surprises me.
To the laws of reciprocity.
Right, and they seem to enjoy it. So I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to keep promoting and helping. It does get frustrating though when you try and help people and they won't help themselves.
So for our entrepreneur or solo, be honest. And what were the other two?
Be honest. Be actionable. Go do something. Go find an event. All these events are out there that everybody else is attending. You just go find it. Like no one's going to make your calendar for you. And if I told Art, I would think you should go to these 6 things. They may not be his 6 things. Like I go to weird things and I meet people and I get connections and I get business. I mean, I got on a very prestigious board by making a joke about a lady playing with melons.
Yeah.
So.
And I would also encourage you. Jonna does a really good job of, you could almost say, diversifying her portfolio. When you say you go to these different events, I've been encouraged to do that. I don't work in oil and gas, but I have good friends that I've met through it that invite me to these events, and I end up meeting other people who I'm like, oh, this is good that I met them for these other people that I know, not really me, and then we bring them together, and it feels good.
I just did that. So this lovely lady named Shelby Campbell, who's in the community, and she texted me, hey, you should go to this lunch. And I was like, you bet, thank you, Shelby. So I signed up for the lunch, and I show up at the Petroleum Club, and I'm all shiny and ready to go, and I walk up to the lunch, and there's no signage at the check-in desk. And the lady goes, oh, I'm so sorry, the lunch is canceled. She said the speaker couldn't make it. They were flying in from New York and they got stuck in the lines and they couldn't get here. And so she said, just go in. Everyone's just eating lunch. Just go in and eat lunch. There's no speaker. Just go enjoy. So I saw somebody I knew. I sat with them. We all talked. We made friends at the table. And then later someone showed up and I explained to him, hey, he wanted to know about some local events and conferences. And I suggested he come back for June 8th and 9th for the Power Permian Connection. And I still owe him an email. It's open on my desk, but I was at the wrong lunch. And I didn't know it because there was no signage. The actual lunch was downstairs.
Oh.
And it was in a small room, and I didn't see it when I walked in, but I still made connections.
Right.
And
did you circle back around to the lady who invited you? And
I'm going to call Shelby and let her know. I wanted to talk to Shelby in person. If this part airs.
Oh, that's so good.
It was hilarious. I really wanted to go there. And the reason I knew the lunch really happened and that I was the only reason I found out was this guy that I know posted on LinkedIn. He did the flyer. And then he showed a picture of the room and he goes, I was at this luncheon, blah, blah, blah. How great. We learned this and that. And I'm thinking, why is he lying? Why is he acting like this was canceled? And then I was like, oh, he really was there. I'm just a fool. So
It's almost like when you are going to your college courses and you go to the wrong class.
but it's good.
It's too late. Maybe now you're just like, I'm here.
I'm just going to
I'm
learn
gonna
this
learn.
today.
I'm
just going to
learn.
learn this today.
Circle back around to my professor. That's never happened to me, but I have been in the class where 20 minutes into it, a student gets up and says, is this not blah, blah, blah? I'm like, nope. Turns red and exits. And I've also talked to the student outside the hall who says, I was in the wrong class the whole time.
Yeah, so I was at a lunch yesterday, the Permian Road Safety Coalition awards ceremony, and it was great talking about safety on the roads in the Permian, and it is important, and there are organizations very much involved, like that organization, PSP is involved in it, but as I sat down, the lady came up to me and she said, hi, I just need to verify your name, I want to check you off this list, and I looked at her and I said, yeah, because there are lunch crashers, you know.
Mm-hmm. I believe it. Let's change our focus just a little bit. This might be more advantageous for people who work for companies. How do you argue your position to your leads or someone similar to us who is working for a company and their natural talents aren't as measurable as the accountant, the engineer, everything in between, but you're naturally good at getting the brand's voice in the community. It's something in the DNA about, I know I need to be involved with nonprofits. I know I need to be involved with this. How do you tell your boss or your lead, this is important? I got to go shake hands and collect names. I can't really quantify this for you.
So with
How
Landmark,
do you argue that?
I didn't so when I came on board in Landmark, I didn't have to do that. They came to me because I was known in the community, and I do for the community. And to me, it's a non-negotiable, and I wouldn't even actually bring it up to a boss, to a potential employer. I don't consider that arrogance. I just wouldn't. Mm-hmm. This is what you do. It is how, to me, this is how you comport yourself in business. You do for the community, you give back, and to me, it's just a natural fit. Everybody should be doing it to whatever extent that we can. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have to argue that at this company. And mm-hmm. then working at community banks, that's all part of it. Now, I did way more than was ever expected with all of my mm-hmm. board involvement. But yeah, with this new job, had they said to me, we need you to tone it down, we need you to move it back, I then would have put on my little Spidey senses hat and said, what does this tell me about these people?
Right.
These people don't value the community, they don't value a commitment to it, and they don't value effort, mm-hmm. right? Extraordinary effort. And so I would have completely backed away.
So if we were to take a fresh grad out of college, a young professional, and is there a period where you got to cut your teeth and earn your value, and then you're able to say, I'm a connector. If you hire me, you're getting all this, or what's the structure, do you think? We're taking a young professional who's pretty ignorant.
So with Michael Crane over at UTPB, and Michael has passed, and God rest mm-hmm. his soul, we loved Michael Crane. He had me come in and give banking talks, and I would go there and I would talk to them, and I would say, do you want the banking talk or do you want the real talk? Mm-hmm. And so I would give them the banking talk, and truly credit and character is everything. And so if you have your own business, don't take cash and put it in your pocket. You put that in the bank account and you establish your relationship with your banker. Mm-hmm. That all goes to credibility. That will help you. It will pay dividends later. You always want to be honest mm-hmm. in all things that you do. But the talk that I gave to them was that if you didn't know that person over there and you didn't know that person there and the guy that just walked by, you have just ruined your college education. It is about knowing people at every level and knowing who they are and what you can do for them, and what just knowing their story. Mm-hmm. I'm able to connect so many people all day long. I feel like I should have a little button like $10 for this connection, $10, it's just, I mean, literally I get calls and texts all day long. Can you connect me with this? And happily just. That's why I have arthritis in this finger. I connect people all day long. But so I don't know that a young grad needs to do that. I think if I'm talking to you and you're a young grad, or you're not a young grad, you're just coming on board, do you care? I want to know, do you care? Do you care about the larger community? And do you understand that you actually play a role in that?
Right. That's awesome.
And that's, to me, that's the blueprint.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe that you can make a difference, you're not going to.
I believe I can make a difference.
I believe.
That's actually really good. So I have 2 interns from UTPB, and I have noticed, I'm not going to call out Yasmi, I'll call out her generation, her age group. There is this question mark on, almost they're waiting for permission to meet someone. I can't just go up and introduce myself. I'm waiting for the permission to do so. That's been something that we've been trying to work on, is you have every right, especially at a networking event, to go introduce yourself and be curious about someone.
Well, I don't even think it's even that deep. I think it's just they want to meet you. I sat at that Permian Road Safety Coalition table yesterday, and I showed up a few minutes late, and I got stuck on a call and tried not to speed. I thought that was respectful of the meeting, right? So I got there. So everyone was already seated, and then we had a break, and I said, hi. So I think I've already missed all the introductions to everyone at the table. And,
right.
And I'm Jonna Smoot. I'm with Landmark Engineering. And they said, we haven't introduced ourselves.
Oh.
And that's what I said, I said, and so who are you, and who are you, and who are you? And this lady, Jade, who was at the sand company, as I was leaving the event, I mentioned I sat next to Jade, to the gentleman that I was on the phone with who lives in the DFW area, and he goes, I just sat next to her in Houston yesterday. So this is a small world. We all want to meet each other, and I think we're all shy, and we think, I'm not important enough to meet that person, or they don't want to meet me, or maybe we're just judging. I don't want to meet them, but it is shocking. So the gentleman I just met knew Jim Woodcock, and Jim Woodcock was the gentleman who had the idea for the water conference, and the more you know, it is a small, beautiful world.
Right, and with great connections and a great amount of connections comes great responsibility. I think that's something I'm learning in my next chapter, the early 30s. You now have a responsibility to be very careful with your connections.
It's foundational.
You can't just go willy-nilly. I've made that mistake a couple times, and it's bit me. Have you had a scenario where connections backfired and you had to go into damage control?
Yes.
And we don't.
Yes.
What's a good repair? A quick repair, or something that gets you on the road to repair?
So I think in my world, I'm eager, I'm always accessible to people, and maybe I need to not be so, but I don't want to change who I am. So the good news is I am so busy that I can stay in my lane of being busy, and where before I was putting in time to help you, this isn't about you clearly, but if I was helping you and I was putting time into you, because again, it is addictive helping people and watching you grow, and I love doing that. And so, but once I see a concern, I can then just veer back and help any number of other people.
I see.
So it's just easy. I mean, so that's nice, having any number of other people to help.
I just see you on the highway and you're feeling this. There's the exit. I'm just going to take this exit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And so it's just
the road's still going, but you've exited.
It's not like the time in Arizona I was driving and we got off on a weird road, my girlfriend and I, and the road ended. And had we kept driving, there were no barriers. We would have dropped at least 10 feet.
Oh my gosh.
So this was before like cell phones. So I did get out. I had a camera. I did get out. I do have pictures of me standing at the road to nowhere, literally. Yeah. But
oh my gosh.
It was, and there's always, you know what? Life is short, everyone. I will say this, life is short. So getting back to the water finds its own level. surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with people who care. Surround yourself with people who are going to ask you questions. Art will always ask you a question, what did you dream of last night? What did you, like, he's not going to say, how was your day? He's always going to ask you that question that's going to make you think and have some introspection, and be around someone who's going to make you think deeply, care deeply,
appreciate that.
Be deeply. Like, there are, I can't say this strongly enough, so many quality people, and I have not met the tip of the iceberg of them, and I hope I get the opportunity to meet so many more quality people. And it's just like, I'm looking at these little tables right there. It's like they're like Reese's cups. They're like perfect little Reese's cups. There's so much to people.
Isn't that fun? I know people who don't think or feel like that, and I wonder what is in there, what occupies that space, to not have a craving to meet people and to just meet more and more interesting people as you go, and then throw them along for the ride. And it's just weird meeting people who don't have that craving. It's not a bad thing. It's different. We need those people.
But I think if you're curious and you ask the questions, and like I was saying, how you give the probative questions of what did you dream of yesterday? What what are your fears? What are your whatever? You have a great set of questions. I think the more that you take that type of initiative, guess what? You meet more interesting people. Like it opens. There's a translucent veil over everybody. Nobody wants to give you too much, and the more that you pour into them with questions, with opportunities, they are just going to brighten and shine away, and like, really, life becomes I love my life. It is interesting.
I would say coming into 2026, I have several new mottos. One of them is, I'm now looking for deep wells and not babbling brooks.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can be in a room and realize this is a babbling brook. I need a well. And it's so refreshing. It's a babbling brook is easy and it's great surface. Yeah, that was fun. It just goes. A well, when you find someone who's a deep well, it takes a little bit more effort.
Very Ogallala.
But the reward is so great.
Right.
And I find something really special down there, and I'm like, wow, I had to put in a little bit more, but the well's going to give me water every time I put the bucket down.
And where are we without water?
Right. We did not even plan that.
It always goes back to water, because it's the Permian Basin, and we are here to solve the produced water, I'm not going to say crisis, but opportunity really is what it is. And so water.
Jonna, let's bring this in. Before I let you go, where are some resources that community connectors, engagers can go to strengthen their skills or to just learn more about communication? Where does Jonna go to sharpen her tools?
So I show up to coffee at places, and when I go, I'll do a post and I'll say, hey, come join me. Sometimes there's a few, sometimes there's none, sometimes there's one. I love going to anything Carl Borowski does, and I just went to his Rope Youth connection over at Tall City Brewery this past weekend, and they had a lady, Simply Sourdough lady, came out. She made sourdough bread. She made sourdough chocolate chip cookies, which I still am tasting. They were so delicious. But that paid off this year's school debt.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he's just some guy that could be hanging out on Sunday, hanging out with his wife. Well, he made her cook, but could be hanging out with his wife, could be hanging out with his kids and his dog and doing stuff. But he's just out there doing for the community. So I like hanging out with people because then it introduces me to other people. But so you can go to things like with Rope Youth on Sundays and help feed. I don't know if they do it, but there's Midland Homeless Network feeds people on Sundays. You can go to the Midland Youth Coalition. Anything with kids is really near and dear. There's a lot of galas, but they can be expensive. So I don't know that you need that. You can work with nonprofits. You can say, I have X number of hours. These are my skills. Can I give to you? And 9 times out of 10 they'll take it. They may not have a board position for you, but they'll have a committee position for you. I just think look at the newspaper. Everyone mocks newspapers, and I love reading the daily actual newspaper every day.
You read my horoscope last week.
I read your horoscope. I read all of it. I've been reading them ever since. I can't stop reading his horoscope and Heaven's horoscope and Yasmi's horoscope ever since. And we've been having good days, I'll tell you that. There's something going on with the sun and the moon, but just look for, you have to look for opportunity. You know, God's out there showing you these things, but he's not going to go, hey, here's your, there isn't a roadmap, I think is the answer. And I ramble and I apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
There is no roadmap. Just find you.
Right.
And you may not know who you are, so just go give to something. Just go give to it wholeheartedly, or as much wholeheartedly as you have time for, and you will find you. And then you'll find, yeah, I have this greater purpose, and it's almost a duty to give back. But it really isn't a duty. It's just, it becomes part of your fabric, and it's who you are, and it's what you do.
So something at Second Story that we talk about a lot is when we're moving forward with projects or XYZ, we pray for green lights or red lights.
Right.
And we say, God, if it's a red light, make it evident, just as evident as it would be a green light. But the thing is, if it's a green light, you have to go. If he's showing the green light and you don't go, what happens? It turns yellow and then it turns red. So when we're praying for green lights, we also pray for the discernment. It's time to hit the gas pedal.
Well, I think if you're sitting at a green light and you don't go, you can get a ticket, right? So for impeding traffic. So just realize that. Like there can be penalties. There are penalties for not going.
I love that, going in deeper into it.
Right? Like you
can,
at the
green light.
If you're just sitting at the green light, you're upsetting everyone. You're making that guy mad. So getting back to Permian Road Safety Coalition, that is working to end or significantly reduce fatalities on our roads, and the goal is to keep everyone home every night safe. Period. Great plan. But be a good driver, everyone. There's so many different levels of being a good driver. And don't sit at the green light.
Don't sit at the green light, y'all. Well, so we've covered everything from traffic to water to nonprofits picking up trash and
melons.
Yeah, we're circling back. Jonna, where can we find you? What's the best way to keep up to date with what you're up to, and where are you headed next?
After this, I'm going to stop by our office over at the Honolulu building. I'm going to check out. We've got some monitors that were installed, and we just had the last of our wiring done. Just look at it, make sure it looks good, send some pictures to the home office. You and I are doing lunch wherever we decide to go to. But if you want to link in with me, it's Jonna D for Denise. Jonna D. Smoot, S-M-O-O-T, on LinkedIn. And I just had some woman from Colorado send me a note yesterday, hey, how can I get a job? And I'm like, well, where are you? She says, Colorado. And I gave her some help. I pointed her in the right direction. But so I'm happy to help wherever I can. And I'm around. I remember wherever we're going to lunch. Where are we going to lunch?
Probably somewhere downtown. I don't know if you've been to Don Quintos yet. It's the new one down there on the corner.
I have not, and I'm going to love it.
You can have breakfast for lunch. I want to thank you, Jonna, for sharing your time.
Thank you.
And insights. This is going to be up on our Instagram, Facebook, and the full interview will be on our YouTube. And we'll have stuff on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Jonna.
Thank you all. Have a great day.